Well, I'm going to try to recover from the last video I did, which was subpar. I realized that. I was doing a video on iReporter and I wore this hat. And I know that everyone's going to think I'm nuts. That video was about BPL. That's broadband over power lines. But I think I said telephone wires and I sent it up and you can't delete it. So that was the way the morning started out for Jer. But you know, you have to capsulize things on that iReporter site. You have to make things short because they want to use them on the CNN network. And that creates a problem. Saying things in 60 seconds that might require a half an hour to really get said well. And in the rush, I think I said telephone wires rather than power line wires, and you can't take it down. So now I'm going to look like an idiot to the entire world. With my luck, that one will be approved, and I'll look like a dope. And it frustrates me because there's no way to delete it once it's put up there. But it caused me to do a lot of thinking. Doesn't take much these days to cause me to think a lot because it's so much easier to think than it is to work. It's funny the things that made me think of, though. You know, I am part of history of talk radio. I don't want to go into a tremendous amount of stories of why I can say that, but I can. And I got to thinking about callers 30 years ago that we had here in Portland, Oregon. One was an old man. He had to be close to 90 years old. His name was Bill. We called him Compressed Air Bill. Producer Ruts, are you watching? You know some of these people. You can verify that what I say is absolutely true. Compressed Air Bill was obsessed. Compressed Air Bill once went to a service station and he watched a man take the tire off of a car. And the man used a wrench that was powered by compressed air. And Bill got to thinking, you know something? If it can take a lug nut off of a wheel of a car, you could power that car with compressed air and never have to go to a gasoline station because compressed air is power. We thought Compressed Air Bill, that's what we called him, was nuts. And we laughed at him and smirked at him as every time he would call and try to tell everybody, you don't have to use gas, you can use compressed air. Well, he's 30 years dead, and now they do power cars with compressed air. Compressed Air Bill was right, and we were wrong. And then there was another caller, and she was called the Conspiracy Lady. I'm not saying she was old, but I do say that when they talk about the world's only person that's old, alone, at that mark, the oldest person on the planet, now she was definitely in running for that. We called her the Conspiracy Lady, and she said, the United States is going to fail. The Soviet Union is going to fail. They're both going to be one. There's going to be just one government for the entire planet because aliens might come, and then we'd have to band together. And there's a conspiracy brewing right now to make it one world. I hope she wasn't right, too. But I'm thinking she could be. And that's what this BPL stuff is. It's something that can do something besides what it's said to do. This broadband over power lines, it truly would bring the internet to many people that do not have it today. But what are those power lines? I'm thinking like the Conspiracy Lady. Those power lines are a giant antenna that circles the planet. And it's broadband, meaning it can cover all frequencies. We know as a fact it will interfere with amateur radio communications and AM radio if they're close to a power line. And think about it, every house has a power line coming into it, doesn't it? So this antenna could be used for something else. Yeah, this power line antenna throughout the planet that can send broadband covering all frequencies could disrupt all communications. And if they sent the wrong stuff over it, it could stop communications altogether, except for that internet. And we know how safe and secure we are on the internet. But the government would control it, so we really don't have to worry. That was really the message that I wanted to get across, that there's a danger here, and we should not permit this BPL to be established, because it will do damage of great proportions. Sometimes we want to listen to those old people. Nothing made it more succinct. I remember in Tacoma, that beautiful steam train, the Southern Pacific Daylight, black and orange, a big locomotive, a steam locomotive from our past. I was a reporter in Tacoma when I first saw that locomotive. And it is strange because radio's my thing, and I never taped what took place in Tacoma that day. It made me think a lot. It was the sounds. I cannot duplicate those sounds, for I did not record them, but they seared into my memory. It was the future and the past, passing on a track under a bridge. As the shiny, flashy diesel train, new state-of-the-art, came up the tracks with its roaring engine, roar, 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 and it honked its horn, honk, honk. From the distance came a sound, almost a wailing sound. It was that steam locomotive, and it made almost a moan. And there was that sound of the popping of the power as those wheels, a whole number of them, all close to 7.5 feet tall, maybe taller, moved. The sound of the past and the sound of the future. It was graphic. And the steam train, wailing the past. Oh, there's nothing like a steam whistle on a big train. And the artsy-smartsy diesel with his little honk-honk. I don't know. Maybe we should think more about that past, who, like that steam locomotive, is wailing at us. Give thought to things like steam trains, conspiracy lady, and compressed air Bill. I don't know. I'm an idiot who did a video on iReporter that's all screwed up. So I thought I would come here to YouTube to people that like me and might be able to offer me some condolences over this mess.